Alrighty guys, so we are back. This time with some Legacy of Kain lore. This time, who is Rahab? Now you see, Rahab is like one of everyone's most favorite of clans to choose from, just because they're able to swim. They're kind of like mermaids, just, with teeth that only kill humans. So they're kind of more like alligators than they are like dolphins, in a sense. But what makes Rahab himself so unique is the way Raziel and him talk. And I find it so fascinating because we get a real good glimpse at how his mind works. You see, according to Raziel, Rahab is a very maladjusted individual. Now we look at this and we go, maladjusted. So you mean that he's a little bit deranged? Or do you mean he's a little bit sadistic? Do you mean he's a little bit odd? In which case, we notice it's kind of like a blend of all these in one. He's kind of weird. Now, when the development team decided to release some comments about Rahab, they were talking about how he evolved, about how he overcame the weakness to water. And the way he did it was mostly by dipping into water and then quickly coming out and drinking blood, or activating a shield spell over and over again and kept dipping himself into water. A very, very painful process, by the way. This is like dipping your hand in acid over and over and over again until finally your hand is resistant to the acid. This is exactly what Rahab was doing. This is why I could see him being called so maladjusted. This guy does not care about how much pain is inflicted. He doesn't care how much lives are lost. He does not care about anything. All he cares about is the results. In other words, you could just simply find out that by killing 2,000 toddlers and pouring all their blood into a distillery, you find out that you can make an alcoholic blood bottle. And everyone else in the court would be like, but killing 2,000 babies for this alcoholic drink, I don't think that's good. But Rahab, on the other hand, would be like, man, good job, that's very revolutionary, my guy. I don't care if you did it the slowest way possible. I do not care if you drain the blood out of these babies by just stabbing them in the foot and letting all their blood drain out of their foot in the most slow and painful way possible. I do not care. This is amazing. So this is how Rahab more or less functions. Now, there is some hint that maybe Rahab is a bit of a, how would I say, apathetic individual. And this is what I love most about Rahab, is that he asks the most philosophical question out of everyone in the entire Legacy of Kain franchise. So this question is very unique, and I want you guys to comment down below what you guys think about this question. Raziel just finds out, for context, Raziel just finds out that his body came from a Seraphan priest, a very noble order that was dedicated to killing vampires. And he's blown away by this. Like, what? I was once a noble individual and Kain just destroyed my body and made me do these atrocities like killing other humans? This is awful. And Raziel asks Rahab, he goes, did you even know that we were Seraphan priests? And Rahab simply retorts, does it matter? Does it matter? Now, I love that. I love that a lot. And I was talking about it in one of my live streams, but one, that answer is so apathetic. He really doesn't care. And I mean, why should he? He wouldn't be alive if the nasty deed wasn't done. But on the flip side, does it matter? It's a very unique philosophical question. It's like, okay, let's say your dad raped your mom. Absolutely horrible. You've never seen your dad before because he's in prison. And you find out that you're a raped baby. Does it matter? In the end, does that matter? To some people, that blows away their entire identity. They're like, oh my God, how can I live with myself? Because every time my mom looks at me, she sees him, and I feel like I'm carrying this guilt. Other people are like, well, I'm not a rapist. It sucks, but hey, I mean, I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for it. So it's like, ooh, that's a very interesting philosophy there. Is essentially, does it matter? Okay, Cain did something that was extremely wrong and extremely bad. But on the flip side, he saved us from death. On the flip side, we were able to change the world and for a brief period of time bring about a golden age before mutation started to destroy our empire. So, does it matter? Does it? I just love that so much. Something I find very unique too about Rahab is that a lot of people seem to romanticize him. And it could also tie to that question. Does it matter? As in, I really would rather just be laying in bed right now with a bunch of other ladies, because apparently that's how people draw Rahab, is they draw him as like some sexy fish man. So yeah, that could be an answer that someone like that could be, is, oh, does it matter, honey? Just come to bed. Either way though, I find it very unique. And I find it very interesting too that he is still loyal to Cain. And this brings up something that's more interesting about Raziel, is that it seems like every single person still has contact with Cain. And Rahab is one of those where he is actually looked lightly upon by Cain. Cain seems to enjoy him. Cain seems to enjoy talking to him and reveals to him much more details about his plan than anybody else. Like, for example, Raziel tells him, did Cain tell you what's going to happen? And Rahab's just like, yeah, you'll win. So it's like, ooh, that's interesting. So Cain told you that Raziel's going to come here and kill you. And he told you straight to your face, you will lose. But yet you still kept guarding. But yet you still stayed here. Still, you didn't prevent the outcome. You could have raised the water, possibly. You could have made it impossible for Raziel to kill you. But you stayed. So that means that either A, Rahab is very, very dutiful and very loyal, despite his maladjusted personality. Or it could mean, and this is more interesting, it could mean that he knew everything that Cain planned for Soul Reaver 2 and Legacy of Kain Defiance. In other words, Cain talked to him and confided in him every detail, and Rahab just simply kept it short, which would explain their conversation. Their conversation is very, very short and very brief. So it could be that Rahab's just simply answering his questions but not answering too much. That Rahab has one job to do. Die. Make Raziel work for it, but ultimately die. Because he knows what's going to happen up ahead. He knows the role Raziel has to play. I find that very, very unique. Because after all, we meet some of them. Like Melchiah. He talks to Raziel, but he still thinks that he can kill Raziel. He meets Zephon. Zephon still thinks that he can kill Raziel. Zephon doesn't even seem like he has contact with Cain, honestly. But Duma, he was just dead, so Cain couldn't really contact with him. And then Terrell, he's gone. No one knows where the fuck he's at. So I just found that very unique that Rahab still had contact. It was full on discussing with Cain about things like the Empire, discussing things about the state of the world, discussing things about Raziel's return. And I found that so utterly unique. That of all the sons, Cain visits Melchiah, but he doesn't give him these details. Cain somewhat visits Zephon, but we're not too sure when he stops visiting. It looks like he just doesn't visit him at all. But then he visits Rahab and he just spills the beans. He tells him everything about it. I just find that unique. Besides that, this has been Free 700. I know this video is a little bit short, but that kind of suits Rahab. I mean, he has a very short personality, very short dialogue, so he probably doesn't need much in the way of a lore video itself. Besides that, see you guys next time, and comment down below what you guys think. You guys may, of course, totally disagree with me on my assessment of Rahab, but it seems like that seems to be the case for all Legacy of Kain content, is that every single person has their own interpretations, And I find that so good because that's what a book and what a video game should be. Anything that's a piece of art, piece of literature, or otherwise a story should have multiple interpretations, like the tortoise and the hare. Some people would say that it's all the hare's fault and that the hare is still faster than the tortoise. Other people would say, well, being slow and steady wins the race no matter what. So I find that very unique and interesting that everyone has their own interpretations. Besides that, see you guys next time.